microvideo for assignment 3. Before watching the rest of this microvideo, make sure that you have reviewed the PowerPoint slide deck, the narrated PowerPoint slide deck 3 first. Go through that slide deck, listen to the narration for each slide. Assignment 3 is about the activities design, and there are 5 primary sections in this assignment. Just as in assignment 2, you will have a task leader, and then you will have contributors, but you will choose a different person to be task leader. The task leader for assignment 3 is responsible for sections 1 and 2, the contributors for 3 and 4, and then everybody is responsible for collaborating on section 5, which reflects your Kagan readings. So if you are the new task leader, the scenario you developed in assignment 2 will be handed over to the previous task leader, who will take that scenario and elaborate upon it in this assignment. So to get started, download the assignment 3 worksheet, just as you did with assignment 2. I did not create an assignment 3 template for you. You'll need to do that on your own. So what I want you to do, take out all of these instructions here, but keep the tables and keep the column names. So in using this as a template, you're going to keep 3 columns. The activity instead of virtual grocery store, this is going to be your project name, activity. The middle column in section 1 is real world metaphor. And then the final column is implications for your project name, activities. And that's in section 1. And then you'll replace all the example verbiage here with verbiage for your project. All right? And then you will look at section 2, the refined activity design. You're going to use point of view analysis that was described in the slide deck. What I want you to do is look at these real world metaphors and capture those objects and do some point of view analysis for each one of those objects. Remember, it needs to be in first person form as described in the slide deck. So task leader, you're responsible for that. And then some supporting activities. You do not have to do these. These are just some recommended ones. Use cases I found are always helpful. If you want to put these together and hand them off to the rest of the team members responsible for the scenarios, they can use these use cases to kind of construct what these activities look like. And then finally in section 3, you're going to take the previous personas and the previous scenarios, you're going to elaborate on them. Go into slide deck 3 and look at the example of how the original scenarios in the requirements analysis, the as-is, were elaborated for activities design, and listen carefully to the narration on that slide. And then you will create a claims analysis. Again, keep this table, but fill this in with your own information. So in the left-hand column, you will have proposed activity design feature. In the right-hand column, your hypothesized pros and cons of the feature. And then finally, section 5, Kagan, product opportunity assessment questions. And I make the point down here that maybe you refer back to the tipping points articles to look at trends that maybe help you with some of these questions. And there are 5 questions. Exactly what problem will what problem will this product solve? For whom do we solve that problem? What alternatives are out there now? Why now? And what factors are critical to success? So that is the assignment. It's a little bit less involved than assignment 2, as you see. I want to spend a little bit of time on section 1. So I want to make this clear. As a team, a project team, you should set aside at least a half hour each week through Blue Jeans, where all of you get together and you talk about the assignment and you review these sections. and really brainstorm some ideas. Even though you have the task leader and the task leader is responsible for fleshing these out, don't leave your task leader hanging. Do this as a team exercise. Task leader, in preparation for that, what you can do is you can try to generate some of these activities and metaphors ahead of time. So here are some examples, and you have examples in slide deck 3 as well. So basically, you're going to come up with an activity statement that starts off with something that is pertinent to your project. In this case, this is a proposed virtual grocery store. So you'll have shoppers. Shoppers are your stakeholders. Okay, so not personas, but your stakeholders. And you'll say shoppers select items and put them in a, okay, they're going to put them in something. What are they going to put them in? And so the two metaphors I chose for that activity statement are shopping cart and shopping bag. So basically, with this activity in the virtual grocery store, what I'm doing is I'm reflecting a real world activity that you would do if you visit a grocery store. Similarly, for your projects, for the products or services that you're designing, look at those real world activities that your solution will be involved in and pull those out. And start with the as is. Those are the activities that you're going to have to reflect in your product and your service that you are redesigning through a user experience design paradigm. Finally, you're going to look at the implications for the activities. So if you choose the one statement, shoppers select items and put them in a shopping cart, the implications are an object, this is an object where all selected items are stored and how many of them there are. If you choose shopping bag, and I'll be honest with you, this is a pretty lightweight example, but maybe for that, we do that just for holding just a few items for light shopping, if that is an activity we choose. So there's some rules that I want you to follow in creating these metaphors assignments, and this is very important. And so I'm going to show you what they are. Here are the syntactic rules for creating activity statements. So activity statements are comprised of two parts, okay? Those parts are the activity statement itself and a metaphor. The metaphor may be 1 to 2 words long. The metaphor is always a noun. So, as an example, using the virtual grocery store that I have in the worksheet, okay? The first part of that activity statement would be shoppers select items and put them in a. The second part, grocery bag, is a noun, okay? So when we put that together, it is shoppers select items and put them in a grocery bag. And of course, you have another metaphor as well, which leads to point number 2. The metaphors need to be tangible. Look at the metaphors I use: grocery bag, grocery cart. Okay, those are tangible. You can visualize them. Let's say you have a metaphor that says new idea. New idea is not. This is something inside your head. This is tacit. You can't readily observe it. So idea is not tangible. Let's say you completed it with this statement: shoppers select items and put them in a new idea. Okay, that really makes no sense because idea is just intangible. So make sure that your metaphor is something tangible. Something else to notice, okay, this is very, very important too. The activity statement plus the metaphor together make a grammatically correct and complete sentence. When you put these together, you say shoppers select items and put them in a grocery bag. That sentence is correctly structured. It is a correctly structured sentence that stands alone. And it is correctly grammatically structured as well. Finally, cardinality. So you must have a cardinality of at least 2 metaphors to every activity statement. Well, what do I mean by that? So when you create the activity statement, the first part, you need to be able to complete that with at least 2 tangible metaphors, okay? If you can only think of 1 metaphor to complete the sentence into a grammatically correct and complete sentence, then it is not broad enough to adopt. You need to be able to select at least 2 tangible metaphors, or else broaden the activity statement, okay? And no more than 3 metaphors. For example, maybe I construct an activity statement that says, shopper puts their items in a plastic. The only metaphor that I have is bag, plastic what? Plastic cart or something else? Maybe you can, but in my example, I'm saying really only have 1 metaphor that makes sense. So I can't use that activity statement. Now I can broaden it just by removing 1 word. In this case, shoppers put their items in a, and I can complete it with 3 metaphors. Canvas reusable bag, paper bag, plastic bag. Any one of those will make that a grammatically correct and complete sentence, and I have a cardinality of 3 metaphors. So again, I want to be very clear. I don't want to see any activity statements that only have 1 metaphor. There needs to be a cardinality of at least 2 metaphors for every statement. And then last but not least, I do expect to see at least 4 activity statements, but less than 8 activity statements. So those are important rules, syntactic rules to follow when you are looking at section 1. So I don't expect everything to be done perfectly, but I do grade very crisply on the syntactic rules. So if you have any questions about this, make sure you let me know. And that is assignment 3.